You're live.
Hello, everyone. We'll just wait for a little bit more of you to join, and then we will begin the show. But until then, I will begin by introducing myself. I'm not sure why I'm a little bit nervous today. I feel a bit nervous. But yes. So, um, my name is Umay Ozbaris. Just to clarify, I am not a qualified psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, or psychotherapist at all whatsoever. I am just somebody who has suffered for many, many years with mental health um, problems here and there throughout my life. And because of that, I feel it very, very important to share my knowledge, be open, very open about mental health and the struggles that I've faced, and to touch base on some really important topics, mental health topics that I'm quite passionate about, so that it might help you. I help myself in the process, and because of what I've shared, it might open your eyes to certain stigmas and you might be able to help others too. Today, we're going to be touching base on a really important topic. But before I carry on, I would like to happily and very excited to introduce the very special person who will be joining me today on the live for Mental Health Tuesdays, which is Halil. So Halil is going to be joining me today. Do you want to join, Halil? Hi! I can't hear you, Halil. You've put yourself on mute.
I put myself on mute.
Yes.
I'm meant to be the one in charge of this thing, and I put myself on mute. Hello. How are
It's
you?
okay. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for joining me today.
I'm really
Honestly, it's a
excited
pleasure,
because
pleasure and an honor.
this is normally your show, and I'm really excited to jump onto your show. Every time I watch your things, it does bring you down to earth and thinking, hold on, this is certain things that I can relate to. Especially dearest Emine Abba, she's the most emotional one in the admin team, and she always basically says everything you say, Omai, is it's like as you're speaking for me. And I
Oh,
agree. I think you speak on behalf of those that don't speak up, and I think this show will help those that aren't speaking up. I've obviously. Oh my god. Okay, look. Let's cut this in. Beard's gone. Okay, the beard has gone because of Bayram. Okay. Yes, I've lost about 10 years, but guess what? Who cares? I'm 33 and I look 20.
I know, right? I keep telling Halil he should not be um, nervous about the fact that he's shaved his beard. I know he's very, very attached and used to his beard.
Yes,
Um,
I'm
and
used to
he
twizzling my mustache,
he's got a
but even
mashallah
now,
beard. He's got a mashallah beard, which is like he's got a beard potential, which is amazing. However, once in a while, that face needs a little bit of air, doesn't it? So
it
your
does. It
skin
needs a
needs it
vitamin
needs a bit of
D. It
it
needs
does.
the whole facial scrub and whatnot. I mean, it needs to
Yeah,
breathe once in a while. So I thought, why not? Sun's out,
yeah.
needs a glow. Görmek
But
süt çocuk.
yes, süt çocuksun, vallahi süt çocuksun. But I really do, thank you so much for joining me today. And the reason why I thought would be really, really important, I can't even speak English today. I'll just get to the point as well. I've just had a wimpy. Okay, I've had a nice wimpy burger. Yeah, delivered. Yeah, and because
Delivered.
of
Did it?
that,
Was it all right? Was it
I
okay? Was
had
it?
I had food coma. It was so nice. Do you know how nice it was to have a wimpy? Oh my God, you have no idea. But yes, because of that, I might be mumbling through my words. And I also am facing a lot of hay fever today. So please excuse me if you hear me sneeze whilst I'm in the conversation. But so today's topic, if you haven't seen already, when Hassan, Abe, Emina Apla, Halil, and all the other admins thankfully posted for me today, um, our topic's going to be one that I'm quite passionate about. And I thought that we need somebody who has first-hand experience because it's about men's health. We're going to be talking about men's mental health. And because of that, I mean, it would be quite hypocritical and wrong of me to talk about men's health when I am a female. So I thought, why not have somebody join us today who is a male, who has first-hand experience and can tell us himself what he's faced throughout the years, and what he would recommend to others. if they fall into any sort of trauma or mental health problems or stresses or struggles throughout their lives. But before we get into the topic, me and Khalid would like to just, say thank you to everybody who has joined so far. We really, really appreciate it. Every single comment and view is honestly, it's heartwarming for us. We are so happy and proud of you all, and just really, really touched that all of you do agree with us that this is a topic to discuss and get out in the open. So if
Definitely.
you are a member, if you know somebody who is Turkish Cypriot and living in the UK, please do invite them to join our group. We would very much appreciate it, and I'm sure that they would benefit from what we share on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Also, please make note that we do have an Instagram, we have a YouTube, we have a Twitter, we have it all. So feel free to join and follow us as well. And also, last but not least, do not be afraid to reach out to us if you want to discuss something. There have been quite a few of you who have reached out to me since my last live, and I want to say thank you for being so brave and reaching out to me. And I hope those of you that I was able to speak to, it was of some help to you. But there are some of you who I didn't get to respond to. I never got the chance to. I read your message, I wasn't able to respond, and some of you, I think, maybe got a little afraid and left. I do apologize. Please feel free to reach out to me again. I'm always happy to help, and not just myself, but the other admins too.
Okay.
Is there anything I missed out on, Halil?
Not at all. I mean, it's just I think people need to try and reach out to whoever it is within the group. We're here as a family. We don't see us as strangers, and we're not going to judge you. Well, hopefully, people aren't there to judge people. But also, we as admins as well here, we're here to listen to you, even if you don't want us to reply. If you don't want us to um, if you don't want to write it, you want to just send a voice note to us, we completely understand. We're here to listen. I think yourself, Umay, you were talking to someone, to Serkan, to say you was thinking of maybe doing a Zoom, maybe to introduce people for those who may want to reach out, or they maybe they don't know whether they are going through anxiety or whether they are going through depression. And I can tell you in my experiences later on when I talk, as a child, you wouldn't know these pressures that are put on you by your parents and whatnot. So until you realize that you're older and you're thinking, hold on, am I like these people? Am I going through the same thing? So we're thinking of maybe having a Zoom kind of conference where everything is private, everything is kept between the four walls of Zoom, or if they do have any walls, within the virtual reality world.
Yeah.
And basically, you're there to either listen to those, to share, and to support really. And hopefully people will do a poll after this, because us Turks love a poll.
Yes.
And ask you lot whether you think it would be a good idea, whether you think there's another idea that we should reach out to. But yeah, that was it really. That was the only bit that I wanted to add.
Fantastic. Yeah, I really agree. And I think that's a great idea. So let us know if you'd like us to do that, guys. I'm very open to letting you guys join into the conversation and talk live to us if you wish to, or send us anonymous messages if it makes you feel more comfortable. But if we get into a group discussion, it will help us all to interact more and get to know one another, but be able to support one another too. So me and Khalil wanted to go on to another topic, which is about stigma. And this is one that I think we're both quite passionate about as well.
Yeah,
The reason being is because when it comes to the way a woman, also, you can hear me well, can't you, Khalil?
I
You can't
can.
hear any
Can.
background noise or anything like that at
No,
the
no,
moment.
none at all. Can you hear any background noises with me?
No, no, I just wanted to make sure because my neighbours are being a bit loud, and I thought, well, you might be able to hear that. So, and
If
if
they're
you can
having
hear
a
that, then
party, we can join them later. But
yeah, I think they're having a mangal. I might want to join them later. Yeah.
okay,
But yeah, so in regards to stigma, the reason why I wanted to talk about men's health is because I see the way women are treated in the Turkish Cypriot culture, and I see the way men are treated in the Turkish Cypriot culture. Um, it's sort of a 50-50. It's a sort of, it's either one end of the spectrum or it's the other end of the spectrum. And what I mean by that is what I've seen growing up, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, Halil, as well. But the way I see it is parents either spoil their male children to the point where they give them everything the world can offer compared to their daughters. And what happens is they end up growing up and being very codependent on their parents. They're not able to take care of themselves. They're not able to be independent. They're not able to um, they are quite arrogant in the beginning, but then grow up and they don't really see the realities of the world because they have two parents who have smothered them with love and outpouring of oğlum biricik oğlum, you're amazing, nobody is good enough for you annem.
Autumn.
That sort, yeah, they make them seem invincible, like the king of the world. And what happens is they grow up very sort of unable to take it when others don't treat them that way because they expect others to treat them that way in the real big wide world. They aren't able to actually see their own potential, and they become sort of, either they go through addiction, anxiety, depression, or they end up getting married and they seem to think that because their mothers have told them their whole, no woman is ever going to be good enough for you but me, I love you the most, annem, they end up sort of treating women very badly, not treating
Yeah.
them with the respect that they deserve. So they have this sort of I am the best sort of personality, but they're also very fragile because they do not have a real vision of what the world really is. So that's one end of the spectrum. Okay, then you have the other end of the spectrum where it's very sort of, the parent is, why can't you be like Mehmet? Mehmet is a doctor. Why can't you be like Mehmet? Look at Hussein. Hussein's got a degree. Why can't you get a degree? Why couldn't you go and get a degree? Look. Fikret studied law. Why can't you study law? Why can't you be like this? Sort of comparing them to other people throughout their whole lives.
Yeah.
So they grow up with a lot of
How
anxieties.
I can explain that is, in my experiences, I kind of don't see myself on either end of that. I
Yeah.
see myself white bang smack in the middle, where I've been in the shadows of others because you have to be like these people. Look what Hassan's son's doing. Look what Emine's son's doing. What look at bak kız buldu, nebsem kız bulamadın da, all of this stuff. Especially if, for example, if your son does not like girls and you're forcing that upon them, and that's another thing that will create anxiety and leaving them not accepted within the community, and then that starts feeling as though the world is crushing down on them because they're not going to be accepted. And then on top of that, where you've said it's all of like comparing, you've got the part where it's the smothering. Well, on my side, it wasn't much of the smothering. When I come to this age that I am, I can't see them doing it because they were smothering. They were doing it because they loved me. But as a kid, when you see it, what they're doing is they're removing you being the person you wanted to be.
Yeah.
As in, they put they're always in front of your wall and they stop you from talking. So if you're at the misafir, bekle büyüyesin biraz daha sonra sen konuşabilirsin, or this type of stuff. And I'm grateful of what my parents have done. I wouldn't have come to this. I wouldn't have been here, and I wouldn't have been honored and come to this position
Most
that
definitely.
I am in my life. But sometimes, like you said, there's extremes, and the extremes that these certain people go through stops them from becoming who they want to be, and their dreams are then. It feels as though like I can see the dream, but it starts fogging up. It's because that shadow is being put in front of them.
Yani Yasha, you really said it spot on, and that's very, very true. There's just something I would like to add on that. Now, on the smothering spectrum, now you do have those in the middle. You do have people like yourself who haven't faced either or of those spectrums. However, two things. The first is on this side of the spectrum where you have the smothering, arabayı alırlar, okulu öderler. They don't allow them to work. They give them money whenever they want. They are literally spoiled, and so they do not ever know how to fend for themselves. And they grow up
Exactly.
with a lot of denial and
Expectations of
you
them.
owe me
Yeah.
attitude. Okay. And then you have the other side of the spectrum of hadi bakalım ha, get up, go to work at the age of crack of dawn, do this, bunu yap, şunu yap, very sort of they control your life. Sen bunu okuyacaksın, sen bunu yapacaksın. They make them do every little thing. And so what they grow up doing is they grow up with a lot of anxiety, a
Yes.
lot of anxiety, a lot of woe is me, a lot of not woe is me, but a lot of sort of like they a lot of anger, built up
They're like
they
a they're
detest.
like a champagne bottle that
Yeah, they
basically is
half
being
a
shaken up
person.
so many times on that
Yeah,
side, as in that side of the schedule, the
yeah,
scale. The
exactly,
other
like
side of the schedule, the scale, there is no champagne bottle because they're expecting that champagne bottle to be given to them. There's
yes,
expectations. They want it all on the plate. They want their things. So basically, they won't be able to do things for themselves.
yeah.
Whereas the other side of the scale, I'm trying to do this. It's in repeat. I can't do it. And the other side of the scale,
Yeah.
is basically to the point where you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and that puts fear into the person,
Oh yeah.
and that fear is basically, which I sometimes go through, is can I do it? Am I going to
Mhm.
fail? Am I going to be told off because I'm going to do it wrong? And you never want to do things wrong. And this is why I'm always a perfectionist, because I don't like to show my
Yeah,
final piece of work to
yeah.
someone, because I know that I don't want that bad news to come. Because every time I get a bad critic or a bad note from my manager or my dad or my mom, I don't feel like I want to continue with what
Mhm.
I was doing in the first place. So you get to this, you feel like you just don't want to do it. So you're like, oh, but boş ver, ne yapayım? Why should
Çok
I do it?
doğrudur. Çok doğrudur. But what you also mentioned is there's another thing to add on to that. What it is bunlar who they were treated with such aggressive behavior. They've not been able to live their life hayatta doyamadılar. Not only that, they grow up with ne söyleyecektim sana? So they grow up feeling like they have no control of their life. So they grow up with either OCD, or they feel that they have to control one aspect of their life. It could be eating, so they could grow up with bulimia, so food like controlling food, or OCD. They grow up with trying to control things around them. It could be cleanliness, or grow up with A-type personalities. Things have to be done in a certain way, and
Yeah,
because they couldn't control any aspect of their life, they find one thing to control,
which is
and they
theirs and no one
over
else. Yeah,
yeah, and they over control that, and they become very, very um they have a lot of social problems. So um but
but
with either or of the spectrum, there's one thing that is always going to be included, which is erkekler ağlamaz.
yeah,
Whether you have
and
a yeah,
grow some
yeah,
balls.
yeah. I mean,
I hate hearing that phrase. I
yeah,
hate it with passion. Tüylerim akar. I feel
yeah,
like actually telling the other person to just do one, because
yeah,
you have no right. You haven't been in my shoes to actually tell me to go and grow some or to stop crying, because you don't know what is happening between these two temples of this person. You have no right.
yeah,
So that when I hear erkekler ağlamaz or grow some, it makes my skin crawl.
yeah. I mean, I grew up hearing it. I grew up hearing it with every single male in my family. Hadi bakalım ha, erkekler ağlamaz. Literally, like they get angry at them if they see them show some form of emotion. So they grow up
Yeah,
like stone. They grow up not being able to show affection to their wives or to any female in their life. They grow up they grow up, feeling they grow up genuinely like dash. They grow up ashamed of feeling any sort of way, so that when they do become emotional, it makes them angry because they makes them feel less of a man. And to top it off, whether you're being smothered or being spoilt, you're being told you can't show emotion and you cannot cry because you are a male.
Yeah.
um so I mean, that's the stigma we wanted to discuss, and I think it's time to really hand it over to you so you can tell us about your experience with in regards to all of this. Take it away.
Take it away. I mean, I've mentioned most of the stuff like how we have now, but I can't see I can't see myself at either end of these. I kind of see myself always in the middle, and it's only recently, during this, well, since I've been working at Coventry University, that I've actually realized that I do have anxiety. And when I do have anxiety, it feels as though like someone is actually sitting on your chest to the point where you can't breathe. You feel as though you're trying to solve all of these problems at once, and you're thinking, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And your mind it's literally, it's like the film credits going in front of your eyes so fast to the point where you're trying to, you need a break. And I could, when I look back now as a kid, when I was at grammar school, which I wouldn't say I was pressured to go to grammar school. I appreciated going to grammar school, but I didn't enjoy grammar school because I was bullied from year 7 all the way to sixth form.
Oh.
I can agree to it. I know that I was. I didn't enjoy it. I don't think I had any friends I can count on both of my hands. It was basically a time where, from year 7 maybe to year 9, my mom would drop me off to school instead of catching the bus. That obviously took that idea of growing up of using the catching the bus kind of thing, because they want to cotton wool you, nothing happens to you. So there was that one thing of happening to me, which in all honesty, when you look now, it wasn't something bad. And in all honesty, you looked back at it, you saved the money of you spending money at going on the bus and whatnot, but you still wanted to make those friends that you could have at the start of the school, which then at least then you wouldn't have got bullied during then. Then I know I definitely had a few breakdowns during the A-level times, because I didn't pass my A-levels the first time around. I had to redo them again. I had to go to college and read on my A-levels. Didn't get the grades that I wanted to do, and I think I can explain, be in the same shoes as everybody else when they say there's that whole stigma thing where, when you just explained earlier that look what Hassan's doing, look, he's a doctor, look, he's a pharmacist, look, he's a lawyer. And it was stuff that I don't think I wanted to do, even though that people would say, bak parang olacak, olunca you can look after your family, bunlar bangdan olacak, you won't have to worry no more and whatnot, and orada da bunu yapabilin. But I don't think I would have enjoyed it. I wanted to do art. I enjoyed art, and I think on a small age, and then Baba will agree to it. My mom and dad will agree to it. They're not ashamed of telling me what they told me. And what they told me was, art will not bring you money. It's just like bir şey kartın üstüne de para alacaksın ondan. Look where I am now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're not in that situation back then to tell them, look at me, I'm going to be a graphic designer and whatnot, because there wasn't anyone in the family that was doing this for them to say, bak bu da yapıyor, for you to be like, look, I can be like this person. Because in the family, they were accountants, doctors, pharmacists. It was those that it was either that they would say, or not, you're either going to be one of them, or benim gibi sabahın altından kalkacaksın, dükkana gideceksin, patatesleri soyacaksın, o şeyleri yapacaksın. İsten onu mu yapasın? Derler. They would say to you, and it's kind of like, it puts you down and thinking, well, then I don't really want to be a designer, because you haven't really added that in the jobs that you've given me access to. It's either a doctor, pharmacist, or lawyer, or a chip shop.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying anyone who's having a chip shop is a bad thing at all.
Of course not.
But back in the day, that's what they would say to you. They would, whoever who had a chip shop kind of thing, they didn't want their kids to go through that stress and pressure of looking after a chip shop, for their kids to go through there, because what they wanted is what their kids wanted. They wanted their kids to have the best for them. They wanted them to be in the situation that they aren't in, and so that they can look after their kids. They didn't have to worry. They can put their hand in their pocket, and they weren't, as my dede would say, elini cebine koyunca para lazım olsun, başka bir şeyle oynamayacaksın. He would say in a rude way to me. That's what they would say to me, but they didn't give you that other option of what other things you could do. There wasn't an IT technician or web developer or designer or anything else. It was either a medical job, an accountant job, or lawyer job. That's it. So that was a thing that I was struggling through A levels, because the first time I was doing A levels, it was mostly science stuff that I was doing. I was good at biology, and that's it. Any of the other subjects that I was doing, I was not good. I'm not good at doing exams, and I think that was the main time I was seeing my anxiety and depression as well kick in, was the exams, because I hated exams, full stop. Wow. Every time I would revise and whatnot, I could not find a way of getting into my head. My head was not taking it. I'd go into an exam and I'd look at the piece of paper, and instead of seeing writing on there, it was a blank piece of paper. Just like how my mind was. It was just blank. Dude, give me an assignment. Give me a coursework to do. I'll give you pages and pages and pages. In fact, where I work now, every time I say get your projects ready, and we're going to do this campaign and do your research, I would do so much research and bring it in on the PowerPoint. They would get bored of my stuff that I put on screen, because they want to just see little stamps and little logos and whatnot ideas. And I'm going in full depth of detail of, this is what Generation X is, this is what Generation Z is, this is what the generations are looking for, this is how you're going to advertise to marketing. And they're looking at you going, so where's the concepts? And I'm like, it's on the next slide. 10 slides later, you're still trying to go through research. Because that's how I am. I need to have
very detailed.
I'm a very detailed person. I prefer, before I explain to someone what I want to go through, my idea, I need to have a spine to it. I can't just present an idea to someone without foundations to it. And that's how I've grown up doing it. So yes, assignments. Sorry, I diverted. So assignments, I'm good at. Exams, that's when I started realizing the anxiety. I could see that my sleep patterns changed. I couldn't sleep at all.
And insomnia?
Was you facing insomnia as well? Because I'm going to have to admit it, and most of the admins would agree to it as well. I'm a lastminute.com, but I work well under pressure. You can agree to it as well, can't you? I am a person, like, no one knows in the group, but I work until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get the NASA newsletter done. But it's only because I try and organize it, but I do things. It's just how I work. It's how my brain solves the algebra, the equations, and that's the only way I can put it across to do it. And that's how my best work comes out, under pressure. And that's what the traits that I put up. Like, if someone says to me at an interview, what is one of your negatives, I would say I am a lastminute.com person, but I work well under pressure. So if you come to me to a last job and then you're about to go and you need to get it done, I can do it for you while the other people are gone off to the pub. So where's my bonus? You know what I mean? So anyway, I diverted again. Sorry.
No, take your time.
So yes, so university. I think university was another one, because I didn't stay on campus. Probably some of you didn't as well, but I didn't. I live in Birmingham, so I went to Wolverhampton University, which was close. I saved money. That was the idea, to save money, but I didn't have that university experience that people had, which was to go out, to enjoy. I didn't enjoy it at all. If everyone wanted to know, I didn't do graphic design at Wolverhampton University. I did architecture technician. I wanted to become an architect. It didn't work out. So what I did in the end is I did HND graphic design, and that's when I think that was when my dad gave me a chance, and I think he saw that I enjoyed it, and I think my dad could see that this guy needs to do something he loves. And I think that's when I started to, most of the pressure and most of the anxiety and most of the fear went away, knowing that I'm wasting my life. Because what I've kept seeing every time, the first time I've wasted my I wouldn't say wasted, failed my A levels, I saw it as well. Right, I got to go to college. Oh, that's another year I've lost. So I kept telling myself, oh, here's another year I've lost. I could have done something else. I'm behind. I was like a year behind all of the other people that were the same age as me. So then that gets you down. And then you kind of think, well, I'm going to be behind everyone. I'm a year behind, but I'm a year older than everyone. So when I'm in class, that brings you down and thinking, I'm not going to say my age. But then, like I said, I think when büyüyünce kafan anlar. You understand when you have your own house, your wife, your own kid, and all of these other things come into process, and as the puzzle pieces come together, because as a kid, these puzzle pieces are so scattered within this mind, you don't have time to put them together. Because the people that are trying to fix it for you, they're doing it the wrong way. They're trying to put the puzzle together in your mind, but it's a completely different puzzle in this head. So
only you can put that puzzle piece together.
Exactly. It's only you that can solve this, and the only way for you to go through this, and what I've noticed is the only way that you can go through this is you have to admit yourself and to the ones that you care and you love, that you have what you have, and that is you have anxiety, you go through depression. In your case, you have OCD, cleaning, all of these things that you have to admit it. And I think that's the first, as a jigsaw piece, these are the sides. You're putting all the sides now, and you can see that you need to now start getting all these other pieces and putting them in to see what this picture is meant to be, what your future is meant to be. And yeah, I know that I've kind of gone off topic and whatnot, but I think that's actually my experience of what I've been through. I do cry. I cry a lot.
Good.
And in all honesty, I think it's a really good
release of emotion, a release of energy.
Emotion, because you just end up sitting there and you start thinking about something or a song or someone that's very close to you, and you think, why am I doing this to myself? And all of a sudden it's like the weight that was on your shoulders just drop, and you shoulders drop, and you just end up just letting it all out. But it's not one of those like hunger cries. It's just one of those that just your eye is as though the pockets underneath your eyelids, they're all full of tears that you've been holding on for so long, and then all of a sudden it just released it. That's how it feels to me.
Two questions for you. Do you ever feel like you suppress yourself still? Like, do you ever feel that you suppress your emotions? And if you do, then why do you feel you do that?
I feel that I do because I don't want to show the pain that I'm going through in front of my son. So
is it usually when you're in front of people?
Yeah, so in front of people, I try and I think the best way for me to do it is I sometimes just walk away and go for a walk and just let it just stream, just let it go out of my head. Whatever I'm thinking about, just let it out. But I try and not do it in front of people, because like we said, you still think of that stigma, that stigmatizing thing you're thinking about that. But adam ağlar. You need to show a bit more strength, a bit more support. How is your son going to look up to you if you're there crying? And
do you believe that? Do you believe that?
I don't think that, but I think that's what other people think.
It affects you.
That affects me. That's what I see. But that's what I think.
Also, another question, just when you were talking, it came to my mind, because I was like, oh my god, he's a baba. He's a dad. How has all of this affected the way that you have chosen to raise your son? How has growing up in this culture, and obviously you've gone through experiences, you've understood that you've struggled with some things, anxiety and depression whilst growing up. When your son was born, did anything change for you? Did anything sort of click together? Like, how did you choose, okay, this is how I'm going to raise my son, and what
I
was that
don't think.
journey like for you?
Yeah, I don't think it was a kind of thing like, right, I'm not going to be like my mum and dad kind of thing.
No, of course not. Yeah.
It was, I think it was kind for me was, I think I was a bit softer. I still do some of the stuff that my parents did to me, but I think it's a bit more tamed to what they were doing, and I think I've kind of adapted it to the generation that we're in and the time period that we're in at the moment.
Hmm.
Um, it's best for me um to try and get them to enjoy themselves, to put no walls up in front of them. If they are loud, if they are jumping around, let them, because you're only just
Yeah.
suppressing what they want to become. If
What
you
they
then
want to
start,
feel. Mm.
exactly, that's their emotion. You don't want to end up being with themselves where you're suppressing their emotion, and then again, when they come to a teenage age, they're trying to put the puzzle back together. Let them paint whatever picture they want.
Let
That's
them
what
naturally
it's going,
find themselves.
exactly, because you don't want to put them on the path that you wanted to be on. It's
Just
not something. Does that make sense? You
yeah,
can't you kind of help them. So if there is
yeah.
something for them that they want to do, you help them in a way that you think is right. But if you think they're doing a certain thing, you're not going to be angry at them, because that's what we're going to go round and round in circles. It's going to be the whole circle of life thing, and it's going to end
Yeah.
up you
We
being
want to
like your
stop
parents.
that circle.
Exactly.
We want to stop that stigma. We want to stop that vicious circle of,
Yeah.
you are not allowed to feel, or we are going to control how you turn out. And, do you think that it took you longer to find yourself? And do you think you've actually found yourself? Like, do you know who Halil is now?
No.
Or you don't know who Halil is?
No.
Are
I
you
still don't,
finding
because
Halil? Are you
I'm
are you on the
finding
still on the
Khalid. I
journey?
think,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think I've started to find who I really am. I think we're in my 30s, so I'm 33, so in my 30s,
Wow.
and I don't think I'm a completed Khalil yet.
Version
I
of
think
yourself,
I've
yeah.
completed version. I feel as though there's more to me that I feel as though I'm suppressing, that I want to do and I want to try, and I think I just need to get past that fear or whatever it is that's stopping me to become the final Halil. And at the moment, this isn't the full Halil that everyone
But
should be
are you
seeing.
proud of this Halil?
Yeah, I'm definitely. If this
That's
Halil went
perfect, yeah.
back, if this Halil went back to the kid that was back then, I would have said the same thing that I would keep saying to myself: keep doing what you're enjoying. Um, listen to your parents, but keep doing what you're doing that you really, really, really enjoy. Um, talk. I think that was my biggest flaw when I was young. I didn't talk. I never talked. I kept
See,
it to
that's
myself
such
all
a
the time.
that's such a
Um,
like,
I
yeah.
even I find it hard to, if there was a group of people, I can't walk up to those group of people. Hi, I'm Halil. Blah, blah, blah. I need somebody else to introduce me.
Oh,
I don't have that confidence, and I never had that confidence as a young person to go up to someone, and that's probably why I got bullied in that grammar school days, because I didn't have that
yeah.
confidence to go up to someone going, "Hi, I'm Halil. This is what I like." Blah blah blah. And I tried to join groups, but I was that third wheel out of the pair. I was just following them.
Yeah.
So I think what I would have told my old self, the young Khalil, I would have said, don't be afraid to speak to people. Don't be afraid to speak up. No one's gonna tell you off. No one's gonna be
Yeah.
angry if it's wrong. Just speak. You need to speak up, but obviously you need to know when to speak.
Yes, of course. I mean, just thank you so much for sharing that with us, Halil. I really do appreciate it, and I just want to say what you have created and what you have achieved so far in your life is a huge testament to your ambitious personality, to your strength, and to your determination to succeed. And I think that you are, just a really genuine, solid person, solid human being. And it's very brave and also really, really just it's an inspiration, I think, to a lot of our younger male generation, and I hope that they see that it's never too late to find yourself, and it's never too late to stand up, and it's never too late to speak up, to be honest with
Yeah,
you, because I think that it's you're very lucky in a sense, because not a lot of people can escape that stigma. And what you've done is initially you've said, actually no, this is who I want to be, and
yeah,
I'm going to take this step to being who I want to be, and what I want to learn, and what I want to achieve. And your parents must be incredibly proud of you, and it must have taught them a thing or two of how to sort of just let you, because essentially they were very protective of you, it seems, very very much loved you and protected you, and you sort of allowed them to say, we can let him fly from the nest, and
exactly. Yeah,
we can let him be who he is, and you've allowed them to see that. So that's incredible. And it just goes to show, because you say you're not that you've never been that confident, but then when we see, for example, Ejder, you've given him abundance of confidence as well. So I mean,
yeah,
you're sort of essentially enabling him to grow that confidence, which is just wonderful. So just keep doing what you're doing. It's like
thank you.
a round of applause for that. And I think it leads us on to our next topic, which is well, first I think we should go through comments, right, Halil? Because I can see a
Yeah,
lot of people have said a thing or two, which is wonderful. Do you want to go through them,
yeah.
or shall I?
I'll try and scroll up. So let's have a look. So we've got from Sheriff Good, and massive respect to you guys. Selena says, well said, very true. Chanel says, I think sons from broken families are more able to look after themselves. Um, Princess Fatosh says, this is why the women suffer, because the men don't know how to be independent.
Okay.
Um, Sezin says the boys become men, but they're mummy's boy. You're definitely right. So there's a
And I
few
just
that
want to
said
touch on that. There's nothing wrong with loving your mum, regardless of whether you are a man or a woman. Um,
exactly.
by I think the title "Mummy's Boy" can be quite offensive. I understand what Susan is trying to say. I think what she's trying to say is they grow up to be codependent on their parents. So yeah, but please do carry on.
Yeah. It take from Selena. It takes a real man to cry.
Certainly
Soren
does.
says everyone has emotions. Shanna says we were controlled. I've learned from this is not to control my kids. They should have learned from their mistakes.
Great.
Let's have a look. I think your Daisy says exactly, Halil. Thank you, Abla. Destin says, so proud of you both for speaking the truth. Unfortunately, families in this day and age still are old school and try to control their kids. I think with that one, I think it all depends on which generation I think we're,
Yes.
we're, we're talking about. And I think if we go back to what I'm saying with my parents, the only reason our parents are doing this to us is because their parents were doing it to them,
Exactly.
and it goes back and back and back. And because their parents are from Kupus in a village, and
Yeah.
they're from a village, it's very tight knitted. Everyone
Yes.
sees what you're doing. Everyone is compared to everyone, and if they bring that with themselves to their parents, they still think they're from the village. They still
Yes.
think they're basically comparing other people, even though they're not, because they're in the house living with other two people. Nobody else
Yeah.
is seeing. The furthest person is going to be in London when I'm in Birmingham, depending on everyone else.
Yeah.
And they still seem to want to be comparing with one another. And I think
Yeah.
it all depends how far out. So I would say I am second generation, and I've basically adapted the way I bring up Ejder to how my parents have adapted when they were here in the UK. So my mom was originally from Cyprus. She was born in Cyprus. My dad was born here. So they've brought two different forms of being brought up. One brought up in Cyprus, the other one brought up in the UK. And they've merged this together. So it's a different way of looking after their kids. So
I completely agree with you, and I just want to touch base on that as well. We are not bashing the way that our parents or their parents raised them, because we completely understand that, for example, that's all they know. They don't know any other way. So what they've done is essentially they've sucked all that knowledge from their parents on how they were raised, and then they just sort of carried it on. And they feel that that was the right way. So what we're trying to do is break the cycle of anything that can cause us trauma later on in our life and our
Exactly.
children's lives. For example, we have somebody who commented a little earlier, Sev Untouched said, not all Turkish parents have brought up their children smothered or spoiled. There are parents who support their children in whatever they want to do. And that's absolutely fantastic. However, I'm very, very aware, and I know that Halil is aware too, that you are the minority. Unfortunately, because we have to face the facts that Turkish Cypriots, a lot of them, a majority of them living in the UK, are still living in the mentality of 1960 something, 1970 something, because as Halil said, they brought those teachings back with them.
Exactly.
And so they have implemented those teachings, and they still live in that era. They still live in that time, which
And
is
it's not their
exactly,
fault.
it's
It's
not,
not their fault.
it's genuinely not their fault. It's not in their hands. Elimizde değil, which is what we're trying to say. However, what is in our hands is to break that cycle, our generation, to break that cycle the best way we can, while still implementing the good that our parents have taught us, their Jana Yakan attitude, their loving, giving generosity, their family sticking together. However, we just want to implement a little bit more of, maybe we should do things this way, so that our children don't grow up being affected in any way, shape, or form, um, what might stunt their mental attitude or their personality. We want them to be able to find themselves and to be able to express themselves freely, so that they can become the best version of who they are, the best version of me, the best version of you. Okay. So that's what we're trying to implement here. We also want to make very clear that we are not qualified psychologists or counselors in any way, shape, or form. We are just people
Sharing
who
experience.
we are sharing our first-hand experience. I'm sorry to disturb you, Helen. Please carry on.
It's all right. But also, like, on top of that is, I don't think I'll be forgetting or deleting or forgetting what my parents have done.
Yeah.
Because look at where how far we've come. But obviously, with the I wouldn't say the negatives, but the things that have come on board with some of the things I've done, all we're doing is slightly amending this to make a better time and life or however you want to say it for our kids and for the future ahead of us. Don't get me wrong, we are a tight knit family. It's the reason why I've made this group and this community. I like people to be really, really close with one another. I don't like to be distanced from my own culture and from my own community. And this is what I brought back from my grandparents, which means I haven't forgotten about the way they're being brought up. Another thing is, you should love whoever the person is, whatever background is. And this is another thing that I'm trying to bring into the group. There has to be respect, and that's what my parents have taught me. You have to respect anyone who, whatever background they are, you have to respect them. So I won't forget everything they have done. I will pass
Agreed.
this down to my kids. I will pass them to my friends the way I will look after my friends, my family. Just tweak them slightly because
A little
yeah,
bit.
just a little bit,
Just
just
a
so that
tad.
just a tad and the pinch of this, that, and
Yeah.
gonna be one big mess, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know what? It's gonna be a trial and error, and
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, we you have to think about what that other person is thinking, and you
Yeah.
need to think about also how how would you feel like if you was put in the
Mm.
same situation that that other person is going to be put.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah.
I mean, we were gonna discuss in regards to how men naturally escape, which was our next topic. I think we're gonna go over our schedule today, but I don't think that's a problem, is it, Halil?
It isn't, no.
It isn't, no, good. Because I've got some important things that we should touch base on here.
Yeah.
We mentioned a little bit earlier about how you have had faced anxiety and depression, and what I wanted to ask you is, how do men naturally escape? For example, when they are facing, how come when they are facing mental health problems, how do you believe that men escape, and what should we look out for in terms of that? So, for example, I know somebody who goes to the gym too much, more than he should. Um, and I also know somebody who faces a lot of body dysmorphia, but might not actually realize it.
Yeah.
Um,
See, I think
pays.
those are the extreme side of trying to escape what
Mm,
you're trying to explain. How I escaped some of this was I I wrote a lot. So I wrote a lot of poetry. I wrote a lot of songs that I didn't never sung in
mm,
my life. I just wrote whatever was in here. I was getting it on paper, and it was the only way for me to escape. Now, it obviously won't work for other people, but there's other ways of getting away, escaping from this. And like you said, people go to the gym, people eat, people divert to something else, which calms them, which is drugs, which ends up being to addiction.
yeah,
You have those that go for a long run and then they keep on doing marathons and on and on.
yeah.
It's something to get their
Addiction.
mind off. I think it's what they do is they go into well, I'm not saying all of them do, but some of them will find a substitute to get
Yes, yes,
rid of
yes,
this
yeah.
anxiety or and get rid of this depression, and that so their mind is on something else. But
And
really what
that's,
they're trying
yeah,
to do is they all they're doing is they're just suppressing it. They're just putting it at
yeah.
the back of their head, when really
Mm.
when you get rid of that addiction and you're going to start trying to be normal, just going to come back again.
Yeah, that
Have to
substitute,
focus.
that thing
Yeah,
that they're doing to sort of, and men, this is what men sort of do, like is the drinking, so excessive drinking or excessive smoking. It's that substitute which essentially becomes an addiction. So the gym or gaming, a lot of, playing video games till the morning, a lot of going to the gym, which again becomes sort of like an addiction into their own sort of their physical exterior. How, I have to look better, I have to be better, I haven't got enough muscles, or that sort of thing. Or
yeah,
football, sports. So these become, they become, I feel like naturally the sort of the way men escape, unfortunately, puts them in a vicious circle of addiction. A bit, they use that, they become dependent on that too much, and that ends up being bad for them. It could even be something like genuinely innocent, again, like, oh, I'm going to go boxing or something like that. I mean, but I do think a lot of it is suppressing anger, suppressing emotions, which
yeah.
essentially they either become violent towards others or violent towards themselves. So a lot of self
Some of self-infliction and also
self-inflicted wounds and
yeah.
self-destructive behavior. So yeah. But yeah, I do think this is something that we should look out for, guys. So just keep your eye on it. If you know anybody, a relatives, a loved one, a friend who you see who portrays these attributes or personalities, um do reach out and in a nice, very calm and gentle manner, even if it's in a written letter, reach out and ask them if they would like to just simply talk, or just let them know you're there. Is there anything you'd like to add on to that?
Just want to touch base on what we've mentioned about these escapisms for these people that have Safed said everything is okay in moderation. So for example, when you're saying the gaming, or when you're eating, or when you're having a drink, obviously it's okay to have a moderation of it,
Yes,
but
of
don't
course.
go to the full extreme of it, which then links to what Zera is saying, is there are healthy and healthy escapes, although even too much of a positive can be detrimental. Being aware of anything potentially becoming an addiction is key. So if you're not aware that the thing that you're doing is going to affect you, or is going to be an effect, then it's going to be obviously leading you down the wrong path.
Yeah, most definitely. Just to touch base on that, on a different topic, Sanj Beckett said, share some of the poetry, please. I think you avoided that comment because I don't think you want to share your poetry with us, but it might be something that you might have to do later on.
I wrote something specifically for this, but I don't know whether to share it. I don't know if people...
You wrote something for this? Of course you need to share it, Bear.
I did. Actually wrote it in about 10 minutes.
Mashallah, Hada, share it with us.
Okay.
Hada?
As well.
It's a good thing you mentioned that, Sanj. It's a good thing you mentioned that.
Sanj, I'll drop you a line later. Thanks.
Yeah.
Someone's posts aren't going to be accepted soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think everyone wants... Oh, come on. They all want one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I wrote this in about 10 minutes. So I thought it would be a nice way to explain how myself, like, it is kind of about myself, but also how to explain it, what happens in here, because it's very hard to describe those feelings, or this other person that's in here that's trying to put these pieces together. Yeah, I would dare, Son. You wait.
I just said that.
You
He can't do anything. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about him.
Don't
I'll
worry.
accept your
When
post.
it's my
I'll
turn,
accept
when
them.
it's my turn for Rota, I'll deny them.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna start. I think. Let me compose myself. I've written it down. I don't know off by heart. It was something really fast. Okay. Mum, I can't do this. Anne, they're gonna know. They're gonna look down on me like they're these grey clouds on show. I can't keep running away from the tight squeeze. I breathe. I believe. I swear this isn't me. It's like your shadow grabbing you by your pipe, right? And you bite down, shake it off, and this might just write the next page. It's like fighting with yourself, but it keeps pulling me down. Why now? Holding your hand over your mouth like the masks we wear to drown this frown. My eyes can't see. Salt water streams. You're fine. Wipe them away. You just have to believe. Man up, Halil. Adam ol Halil. Adamlar ağlamaz. Who's going to look after your family? Family. They lift you up. May it be your head from the table or from the floor with no energy. This was surely meant to be. This was written, etched into your skin from the nails within, trying to escape the prison between these two temples. Not a temple of religion, but a temple of questions. Trailing in front of your eyes like the end credits of a movie. This is not news to me now, but as a kid, what was anxiety? What was this invisible pressure stopping me by be who I wanted to be? Bakolum. Look what Aisha's son is doing. Look what Hassan's son is pursuing. Comparing me with people who had no place before are compared to small steps I took. War, that's what it felt like every day behind this facade of present, a prey, a self-created enemy found within. Breathe. You see, you look down at your feet and you see how far you have come. You look down at your hands and you think of everything that you have carried. Looking to your left and right and standing by your wife and your kid. Forbid the entry of this monster you created and keep close those that have listened. Distant that prison that was given more power than the story you have written. That's it.
Wow, tüylerim kalktı. That's amazing. Really, honestly, well done. Like, you read that in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well done. That's
I
wonderful.
hope that didn't lose any viewers.
No, that's wonderful, you know. Well done. Honestly, that sort of just put everything we wanted to say in written words, and you should yeah, please share that to the group after you've after the live is over. I think everyone would appreciate it. That's incredible. You're a poet and you didn't even know it.
Well, I did know it. I was
Well,
writing when
you
I was
did
young.
know it. And you tried to keep that away from us as well. I mean, we
I
should all
haven't.
thank.
Yeah, so I haven't really. I
Wow.
haven't. I was writing a lot when I was a teenager. I was obviously. Yeah, I was writing a lot just to get all the energy out. I used to do rap battles just to get the anger out. So I used to do. That's how I used to get all the rhyming done and whatnot. And I wouldn't mean like rap battles when I'm saying it like this. It's written. It was all doing through
Yeah.
a forum kind of thing. And I think that's how I actually got accepted at the end of my grammar school, which I joined. I wouldn't say I joined the group, but they kind of saw me by myself and they were seeing me that I was writing. So this guy came out of nowhere and he just put his arm around me and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I like what you're writing there. You should share it with our group." And what this group was basically doing is what every lunchtime they would meet up and they would pick a subject and you had to have a battle with the other person, so you could only use specific words. And when I mean battle, I don't mean like your mom is so fat you have to put mayonnaise on your aspirin kind of thing, kind of battle. I just wanted that one. But it was more of a kind of like to get whatever was inside of you out on paper without being without you being don't know. Did you see that? Something popped up on your phone.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
So yeah, so it was just like, yeah, it was a way for me to escape, and that's how I did it. And I think that's at the end. I wish I kind of did at the start, because these people that were in sixth form, they were at the end of their sixth form, so they had left, so I had lost contact with them. I actually kept in contact with that guy that put around his arm around my shoulder, and we actually go football together. And he's been a really good guy. I mean, he's one to not show any emotion. He kind of shows it with kind of like the weight, his stature and whatnot. But when you get him down to a level and you sit him down, he's just a puppy. He's just he's normal. He's just a human being with feelings, and it's allowed.
You see, you channeled, which is something that somebody else just said a little bit earlier, which was what I was thinking. Zehra Akarsu said, you definitely channeled your negative energy into positivity. So your feelings, the way you chose to express yourself came out in talent form. So essentially you have this wonderful talent where you are able to express yourself in written word, and I don't think you should ever give that up. My mum is one of those people. She's quite talented in the sense that she's able to express herself better in written word, and that's you know, sometimes it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were able to write that in 10 minutes, I mean, thank you so much for actually taking the time to do that and share it with us. And I really encourage you to actually post that as well, because it's a wonderful, beautiful poem, which I'm sure it will, you know.
I can hopefully put it in maybe in the Nazar newsletter. Who knows?
Yeah, put it in the Nazar newsletter, because I'm sure it will hit home to a lot of our male members. You know, the feeling of, how are you going to be able to take care of your family if you are not strong? But what is strong?
Exactly.
What does the word strong even mean? And what does strong mean to you? And what does strong mean to me? To me, strong means being able to come face to face with your worst nightmare, with the worst feelings possibly natural, biologically natural possible, and to be able to overcome those time and time again, and only become stronger and stronger and grow thicker and thicker skin. That to me is strong. To be able to, you know, to fall on your knees and cry and allow your emotions to just be out there in the open, and then still find the strength somehow, somewhere, to get back up onto your feet and see tomorrow. To me, that is what strong means. And I know that a lot of us say, you know, and I am not a mother, so I cannot speak for any parent. But
I'm sure your nieces and nephews see you as a
yeah,
mother when you go and look after them. So
yeah,
don't worry.
and when and I do not hide my emotions. In the sense of, if I feel a certain way, I try my best to show it in the most you know, not I don't want to traumatize them, obviously, but I want them to know that Yenge or Apla or you know, Deza is feeling a little bit down today, and it's okay to feel down.
Exactly, yeah.
It's okay if Baba sheds a tear sometimes. Baba should shed a tear. Baba should show his son or daughter that Baba sheds tears too, and it's okay if
Exactly.
Baba feels sad sometimes, or Anne feels sad sometimes. We of course want to keep it to a, you know, as everything in moderation, but I don't think we should be scared to do that. But again, I'm going off on a tangent, so I do apologize.
Okay.
And thank you to everybody who has made some comments. I think we have somebody here who's made a very long comment, and I would, because they've taken the time to write it, I think it would be nice to share it.
I can't read the full because it says it stopped
Yes,
underneath. So
unfortunately, I can't.
I'm going to try and see
She
if I can
said,
open it on Facebook.
yeah, um, because I think that it's you know, it's only fair that we do share the comments that come in when they are written, that you know, in a long comment. But
Wow.
somebody here,
Wow. That's pretty big, Safed Lavi. Anyway, I think I'll read it. So
yeah.
what he's saying is, not a lot of people know what it feels like to be angry. Not that sort of angry, but the sort of angry that lives in you, feels like it's made home in you. They won't ever understand or experience that sort of anger, I hope, but they try to understand your situation. Everybody understands for a while, but then they want the angry man to do something he knows he can't do, move on. They think he's had enough time to feel sorry for himself, enough of their pity to accept what it is. He does too. He tries every day to move on, but what does he know about moving on? What do they know? Who's the expert here? It's exhausting, but nevertheless, he's desperate, so he tries. So after a while, they stop understanding. Then the angry man needs to figure out how to hide anger to be accepted. He accepts no one. He accepts no one understands. No one can understand, and practices smiling in the mirror for the people around him to not ask any more questions. Smiling's good. Smiling makes him invincible, making people around him feel comfortable. He likes it, gives him space and time, but time for what? He doesn't know. He just wants inner peace. Please.
Mm.
That was pretty good.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We really do appreciate it. Um, I think it hits home for a lot of us too. And it's quite brave of you to be able to share that. So, you know, um, give yourself a pat on the back. It's humbling, is what it is
Yeah.
really. So thank you so much. And Serkan Kelebek said, "İyi yayınlar, guys." Thank you very
Thank you
much,
very much,
Serkan.
Serkan.
Thank you very much for joining in. We have a lot of other comments here, but what I would like to do before we catch up on the comments,
Yeah,
and we will make sure to catch up on the comments before
definitely.
the yayin ends. We wanted to talk about suicide statistics and domestic abuse towards men. So what we've done is, me and Halil have worked together to bring to combine useful links and sources, numbers, and websites that people can, well, the male members in our group can reach out to if they feel like any of them are facing any sort of mental health issues, domestic abuse issues, just pretty much anything where they feel like they need a helping hand in their lives, somebody to reach out
Yeah,
to and talk. But what I would like to do is to touch base, so all of us can have a look at this as well. and to just keep in mind that look out for these traits, look out for these clues. And if you do see any of them in men, then please do reach out to that person, provide them with this information, and let them know that it's okay to reach out and look for help. So
Yeah.
some examples of physical abuse that men might be facing. And if this is any of you, if any male member in our group is having to face this kind of abuse on a daily basis, please feel free to reach out to us anonymously, and we will guide you towards the right people who can help you, the right support that we can provide you. So examples of physical abuse is being kicked, punched, pinched, slapped, choked, and bitten. Use or threatens or of use of weapons, including knives and irons. Being scalded or poisoned. Objects being thrown. Violence against family members or pets. Okay. If there's also some examples of isolation. So if somebody is limiting outside involvement, such as trying to keep you away from your family, friends, and work colleagues, not allowing any activity outside the home that does not include her or him, constant checking up on your whereabouts or your telephone. Also, some examples of verbal abuse, and I think this is the most common. I do understand, I am quite aware that a lot of women may not necessarily be physically abusive, but they are most definitely verbally abusive, can be verbally abusive towards the men in their lives. So if somebody is constantly yelling or shouting at you, and giving you verbal abuse or humiliation, whether it's in private or in company, if you're being constantly laughed at or being made fun of, or blaming you for their own failures, please reach out to us. Also threatening behavior, threat of violence, threat of using weapons against you, or even just somebody constantly destroying your personal items, or threatening to tell the police that you are the person committing the domestic abuse, or threatening to remove your children if you have
Yeah.
children from you. Okay, please do not let anybody use your children against you. Be very aware that anything that I'm saying is an example of domestic abuse towards you. Okay, and please do not think that just because you are a man, it's not domestic abuse. This is domestic abuse. Okay.
And it doesn't
Now,
have to just be physical as well. There's obviously emotional abuse,
yes,
psychological abuse as well.
yes, most
So
definitely.
don't just think as though that you know your partner is going to be physically abusing you. Don't just think
Exactly.
it's just that's the case of you to speak up. There's other ways that you can
Yeah.
be abused as well.
Yeah, this is now an example, exactly what Halil said, of examples of emotional and psychological abuse. If the woman in your life, or if it's another man, if you're in a male and male relationship, and one of the men in the relationship is trying to intimidate you, or withholding affection from you, or turning your children and friends against you, they might, try to stop you from seeing your friends or relatives, or constantly insulting you in front of other people, or belittling you, or keeping you awake and trying to stop you from sleeping, or trying to stalk you, or using social media sites to intimidate you, such as Facebook or Twitter, or if somebody is willfully stopping their children from seeing their fathers by breaching court orders, or persuading you to doubt your own sanity, gaslighting you, that's an example of emotional abuse. But also, this is examples of power and control. Okay, so abusers, regardless of if it's a man or a woman, they seem to believe that they have the right to control you by telling you what to do and expecting you to be obedient, or using force to maintain power and control, or not accepting responsibility. So they don't seem to think it's their fault. They seem to think that everything is your fault. And also, it might not be emotional or physical abuse, it might be financial abuse. So they might be trying to control all the money.
Yeah.
They might be trying to run up huge bills and put them in your name, or purposely, defaulting on payments, or setting up false companies or accounts or credit cards, or trying to totally control the family income, or not allowing you to spend any money, okay, or making you account for every single penny that you spend. This is abuse, okay? Please be aware of this. And also, I won't go into too much detail, but there are also examples of sexual abuse or false allegations or being stalked. So let's just, touch base on this. This is, I thought it was very important today just to let everybody know that these are the typical types of abuse that some men have to face on a daily basis. And if that's any of you guys, then please do reach out to us and we will point you to the right direction. Do you want to add anything on that, Halil, before we go on to suicide statistics in men?
Not really. No, I think we touched based on most of them that you've spoke about. So I'm okay actually.
Okay, wonderful. So I just want to go on to the Samaritans website, which is where I found the information today. But I do want to let everybody know that this is something that is, it's real, it's out there. So when looking at the suicide rates for unfortunately, 2019, they seem to increase, to the highest level since 2002, by a rise of 11.8%, especially for those in young people aged 10 to 24. Okay, so let's just be very aware of this. Let's keep our eyes open to any sort of trait that me and Halil have mentioned today in regards to addictive behavior, codependent behavior where somebody may not seem strong mentally or able to express themselves um, as best as they would like. Every single one of these suicide deaths is a tragedy. It devastates families, and we know that suicide is not inevitable. It is preventable, and we have to encourage people we have to encourage one another the best that we can to try and prevent suicide, to support our families, and we need to see this as a serious public health issue. Okay, according to statistics, the rise in suicides since 2000, since 2002, it has gone up by 11.8%, and this is one of the main reasons why me and Halil want to do our best to try and reach out to you all and make sure that you are aware that we need to support the male figures in our society a little bit better, just a little bit better.
Yeah.
So we have gathered some links to share with you all, and we will do so at the end of this live. But the most common ones are obviously nhs.co.uk, mind.org.uk, and
Yeah.
there are some specifically for the male population. Do you want to mention some of those, Halil?
Yes. So we've got Mankind Initiative. We've got Men and Boys Coalition. I found another one that is for students. So it's called studentminds.org.uk. And we have Calm, which is the campaign against living miserably, is it is basically leading a movement against suicide, the single biggest killer of men under 45 in the UK and the cause of 18 deaths per day. So that is what this site is concentrating about. There's also another one that I want to share is basically so look, Heads Up Guys. That's another one. Heads Up Guys is a resource for supporting men in their fight against depression by providing tips, tools, information about professional services, and stories of success. There's also another one which is called No Panic. And No Panic is a registered charity which helps people who suffer from panic attacks, phobias, obsessive compulsive disorders, and other related anxiety disorders. So that's a site that we will share. And there's also something that the NHS have done, which is an app called One You, and it basically allows you to take a free quiz to get your health score, along with a personalized advice and easy tips for healthier living. And there's lots of stuff on there. There's about being stress free, eat better, drink less, quit smoking. So that's to do with health as well. And then the last one, I think that was it actually. I think that's all from
It's a
me.
lot of
But we
really
will
good.
put these. I think we will put these into a document. I think where you
Yes.
can access these.
Thank you to Halil for to put this all together for us as well and share it with us. It's really really helpful. It's really really useful. And please make use. Copy and save these. Put them in your notes somewhere on your phone so that if you do, keep them handy, keep them with you, or reach out to us if you feel like you've lost them and you need them. We will find a way to send them over to you. Um, just be more mindful. Let's be more mindful of each other. Let's look out for each other, and let's look out for these patterns of behavior. I can see that we've actually got Cheryl Shevka, who's written a long, lovely
Yeah.
comment. Would you like to read it out for us, Halil?
Yes, this is my wife. Yes. So she's written, understanding that abuse isn't always physical is the biggest barrier to get through. People seem to think anything emotional isn't as important or have a just to get over it attitude, but it's so much worse. It can create a life uh, worse than death, a form of torture they give to you, and you can carry it thinking they're right and continue to torture yourself. Always, in the first instance, talk to your partner. Most of the time, they have their own worries or troubles and don't even realize they're doing it until you speak up.
Yeah,
You are worth more. You deserve more. Keep saying it to yourself every day.
fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's actually really, really it's very true, to be perfectly honest. And that's really touches home on what we're trying to do today because you might be doing something that affects your partner, and because men feel that they can't talk,
No,
you wouldn't have a clue that you are doing something that might emotionally affect them in a negative way. So I think what would be fantastic for us to do tonight is do exactly what Cheryl has said and reach out to your partner. um, if your partner is a male, and just say, is there anything that I do? Is there anything that I do that makes you feel uncomfortable or impacts your mental health in a negative way? And if so, how can I be a better partner to you? Now, just by simply saying that is going to get them thinking on how they can also be a better partner to you.
yeah,
It's just it takes two to tango. Honestly, it really, really does. So yes, I completely agree with you, Cheryl. Thank you for sharing that. It's very, very true. Um, and I think that leads us on to sort of the end of today's live. Is there anything that you
that's
feel
right.
that we've missed out, Halil?
Um, Not really. I think we've gone through most of the things that I can see that we talked about off air. We've
Yeah.
gone through the different. There's one here that I think you may have missed out. Getting counselling that you may want to, because I
Ah,
know.
yes.
So I think you may want
Yeah.
to talk about that one because
Yeah.
I haven't gone to counselling. I've kind of
Yeah.
self kind of
Yeah.
helped myself and trying to solve kind of thing. But there's other
Yeah.
people that are basically have gone to counselling or had or are
Mm-hmm.
thinking of going to counselling. So if you want
Most
to talk
definitely,
about
yeah,
this, yeah,
most definitely. So I've been going to counselling since I was 6 years old. So for me, it's sort of like second nature, really, sadly, but in a way, in a good way, it's a good thing to have in your life, that experience of being able to to speak to somebody. So that support for me is quite an important one. The process, unfortunately, now in getting counselling is a little bit more difficult than it was in the past. Um, there is a 6-week wait. However, during the pandemic, the wait is a little bit longer. I think it's going to be about 6 months. So what I would advise you to do is to reach out to certain websites for now, um, to see if you'd like to, if you feel like you are in need of counselling. There are some free services out there. Mind.co.uk, mind.org. It does provide some tips and hints on that. Some areas in your local borough that do provide free counselling. I think free, or you pay 10 to 20 pound whenever you go. So you have your local sort of volunteers who are trained in counselling that can provide that for you. It's always helpful to look out to contact your local borough, and they can tell you about that, or your local NHS doctor. Your local GP will also inform you of local services where you either paid 20, 30 pounds, and you can go and I think it's every week or something like that. Some private counsellors charge £100 an hour if you feel like you are in it's a very much needed service right now that you need in your life, and you're willing to fork out a little bit more. You can find local counsellors online, private counsellors. Some of them now are doing virtual counselling that can be like sort of a Skype calls here and there, or video calls. They will provide that for you during this time. If you are willing to wait, reach out to your GP, let them know that this is how I'm feeling, and if they feel it necessary, they will put you on a list, put you on a waiting list for counselling. Like I said, the normal sort of time is about 6-week wait, but of course this does vary.
Yes,
Uh,
Zara's mentioned that as well,
yeah.
because she's saying here the waiting
Oh,
time
okay. Yeah.
varies depending on where you live and what service you are accessing. I'm a counsellor for NHS Mind Service as well as a private practice. So she as
There you go,
well.
fantastic. So there you go. You've heard it from Zahra. It does depend on where you live and your borough. But yes, so that's what I was just going to mention in terms of counselling, because I am on the waiting list as well. Once again, to speak to a counsellor, and I know that I'm going to be waiting a little bit of a while. But during that time, what I'm doing and what you might want to do as well is I've been using mind.co.uk. I have Calm, which is an app on my phone. I use Headspace. I practice meditation. I practice yoga. I try to keep active, and I think carefully about what I consume, what I eat, and what I put into my body. Apart from today, do not judge me. I needed that wimpy. I was craving that
Cheryl
wimpy.
made me 2 burgers today, and it was probably the best burger that I've had in a while. I've had enough of
How
having
that feel,
pilau and
Tolson?
bulgur all day.
Yeah,
Um, to,
Tolson.
to those apps that you said, I think I found a few more. So you said Headspace, did you not?
Yeah,
So you said Headspace. There's
Headspace is
another
another one
one
I use.
called Mindfulness. There's another
Oh yeah.
one called Meditainment, and there's also another one called Noisely as well. So
Wonderful.
we can always add these onto your onto the list, onto the document. We can always say whether they're accessible to Android, Apple, and yeah.
I just want to touch base on what Halide Dervish has just asked. She said, "What can you suggest for our non-English speaking members?" Okay, so I have actually gone to Turkish counselors before, Halide. It depends on where you live. At that time, when I went to see a Turkish counselor, she was incredible. She had like this PhD, she had a doctorate, she was a fully qualified practitioner, psychologist, very well trained, had been doing it for over 20 years, and the services that she was providing was in North London. So if we look online, just do a general Google engine search into, Turkish psychologists or counselors near me, and you might want to write this down in Turkish. So bana yakın psikolog or something like that, or psikolog service Londra or Ingiltere, for example, or just write the name of where you live. It will come up, and you are welcome to reach out to them. Unfortunately, a lot of them do charge. This was one of the counselors, the psychologist that I paid £100 for at the time per session, but I saw her once a month. It was most definitely helpful, and I'm sure that if it's something that I'm sure that there are others out there who are more affordable. Likewise, there's also many counselors and psychologists in Cyprus who are very, very happy to provide their services via virtually, doing virtual sessions, and they don't cost as much. So please reach out, have a look, and see what psychologists are available if you are Turkish speaking and you want to have that service. Reach out and do a Google search online to see, Kıbrıs'taki psikolog falan, and it should come up, and you'll be able to speak to them, send them a message or an email,
Yeah.
and they'll reach out to you and let you know what they charge.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want us to touch base on the comments before we log off today? Is there anything that we've missed?
I don't think so. I think we've hit base with all of them. I think most of the comments have been well, in all honesty, 100% of them are all being positive. I think everyone has
Yeah.
agreed. Everyone has someone having a race on your side of the country.
What's
Just
going
heard
on?
them. I don't know. I heard
I
them.
know, right? It's so I live in like the countryside, and you would think that it would be quieter here. I'm so sorry, guys. I really apologize. But carry
It's
on. Yeah.
okay. Um, so yeah, they're being positive. There have been some good input. We will try and reply to all of them once we're offline. Please, please, please, please, please, please speak up.
Yeah.
Don't bottle it up, because I think that was the main thing that I have done, and I wish I had never done. I still do to this day. I still do bottle up. And
Yep.
and yeah, she says, and the admins have picked up the full wrath of it as well, which I apologize to all of the admins online here and my wife, which I love dearly. I am very sorry
Oh.
for all of the abuse that you have verbally from me. There you go. The whole of 10,000 people have heard this. But yeah, please, please, please don't bottle it up, because you're going to end up hurting someone that doesn't deserve it. Because at the end of the day, how much you're holding this in, that is a bit because of yourself, because you
Yeah.
need to express what you need to express. All you're doing is just basically just filling up the Coke bottle all the way to the
Yeah.
top. And then someone later is coming and just adding the Mentos into it, and you just exploding in that person's
Mm,
face. And it's not their fault at all
it's not.
whatsoever. And they don't deserve to go through that. So make sure you just find someone that you can vent to. A stranger. We've got so many people in the community. I'm sure people have made friends
Yes.
now.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you found a girlfriend or boyfriend in here. Who knows? But speak to them. Explain. You just share. You're not going to be frowned upon. You're not going to be looked down on and said, "Oh, you have feelings." We're going to listen at the end of the day. And if you want us to reply or not reply, send it to us. We can see it. You'll see a tick. You'll see us that we've seen it and we've acknowledged it. If you want us to reply to it, just put it, "Can you reply?" And we'll reply. But
Yeah.
yes,
Please, thank you, Halil. Just to touch base on that, please don't uh please be patient with us. Please message us, reach out to us. It makes me so happy when I get off the live and I see all these messages from you guys. And please don't feel offended if I get back to you a little later than expected, but I will get back to every single one of you. And I very much enjoy getting back to every single one of you. So please feel free to reach out to me, even if it's just, "Hi, Umay, I'm feeling like this today." I'll sit there happily with a big smile on my face. I'm always happy to listen, always happy to help in any way I can, and always happy to make a new friend. And that goes for every single one of us as admins here. Um, and just a last thing from me: be yourself. Be
definitely.
yourself, and do
Yes,
not be afraid to be yourself. This is a group for the Turkish Cypriot community living in the UK. UK. And to me, what that means is, it's 2020. Please do not feel that you have to live a certain way or fit into a certain box to be a part of us. You can be white, black, have yellow, pink, or green skin, be gay, straight. It could be anything. You could like rock music, you could like pop music. It really doesn't matter. You are a part of us and we will
yeah,
accept you, and we expect nothing from you apart from respect and acceptance of others, and just to
exactly.
interact and join in. And that's all I want to say.
Thank you very much. I think the last thing that we're going to add to this. So, in the future, we're going to have. I think we were talking about this offline. The next show will be about drug abuse, I think,
Yes,
Umay.
it will
And
be. Yeah.
then the next one after that, the following week, will be trolling and cyberbullying, which I
Yes.
think during this pandemic, I think people have, because we have access to phone and laptops and is our one way of communication. I think they've kind of abused the cyber world
Yeah.
and used this as their main way of communicating, but not thinking before they type.
Yes.
So yes, so next week will be drug abuse. The following week will be trolling and bullying.
Yes.
It will be back with Umay only. I was only on a one-time feature, special edition, limited edition.
You could
Um,
join in again if you want. You're the
uh,
creator. You can jump in whenever you like.
I can jump in whenever I want. Shut down the show and do another one. I'm not going to
Yeah.
shut down the show, everyone. I think this show has been very good, especially during these times that we're going through. I think it's opening up a lot of eyes, whichever generation we are. I hope my parents, I hope people's parents, I hope
Yes.
the kids are watching this, they look back and realize that this is normal, that people go through this. What goes through between our heads is normal. We can go through whatever emotion that we want to go through and
Mm-hmm.
and it's not wrong. So we can be angry, we can be sad, we can be upset, very happy, we can be lonely, whatever feeling you can think of. It is absolutely normal for a male, a female, a non-binary, I think they're called. I'm not sure
Yeah, I
what's the
think it's
term, that is
non-binary.
non-binary.
Yeah.
We all go through. We're all human. If you strip this all back, skin, bones, organs, we're all human, and we're allowed to go through these emotions.
Yeah, we all
Um,
feel.
so
Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for accepting to be on the show. And just to touch base, yes, it's going to be every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. It might be half an hour later or half an hour earlier, depending on the lives that we have. Please tune in to have a look and see what other lives events we have. During the week, our lovely admin Hassan and Halil, also come together to inform us and let us know what lives are available throughout the week. So do our other admins. They'll keep you up to date with what's going on. That's it for us today, guys. And thank you so much for joining. And feel
Yep.
free to share this once it's over and done with. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you, guys.
Yeah,
Take care. İyi
bye bye.
akşamlar.